Eight, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Good evening. Welcome to the 12th Dimension. Just want to say hello to everyone in the chat and hello to everyone who's going to be listening on podcast. Tonight's guest is Amanda Quill. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
I'll just do a quick introduction and then we'll get started. So in 2012, Amanda Quill started the first Coldspotters team in Vancouver, British Columbia, with the intention to further explore the unknown while creating a safe place for all that are interested in or affected by the paranormal. The team quickly grew into a close-knit family and became an integral part of the paranormal community in Vancouver and beyond. So thank you.
Thank you for having me. And we have grown quite a bit, so it's always exciting to talk about my team. So thank you for having us all.
It's great. So do you want to start off talking about the team, how it grew, where it started, and how it all progressed?
It really grew from there was two of us. There was just two of us, and we started on a website called Meetup, and it was basically so if you want to go hiking with a group, if you want So we started on there just for people that wanted to get involved with paranormal or just talk about ghosts, tell ghost stories, go on ghost tours, things like that. And it's like quickly just blew up. The need for it was so huge. Myself, I'd been investigating for quite a while, not to age myself, but I had been investigating for years and all throughout Canada. And all of a sudden, with the showing up of ghost hunting on TV, you couldn't get anywhere unless you were part of a team, where I was a lone wolf in the game. So it was a little bit of necessity. I had a decade and a half behind me of experience and a life of research behind me as well. And all of a sudden I was having to fill out applications just to go visit a haunted house. And it just didn't seem right. So starting Coldspotters was exactly for that. So anyone that was interested, because there's no real test that we have to do to like a ghost story, right? So
exactly. You just get the equipment and turn up at a location and off you go. That's pretty much it. That's what I do anyway.
Yeah. And then it really blossomed because we had monthly luncheons, and we still do up in Vancouver. And what those were for was just to get together, have lunch, and talk about things that are spooky. So for a while, it was people that wanted to become investigators, people that really wanted to do the moves and react
Yeah.
on camera. So that was cool. And then it
Yeah.
was also people that were living in haunted houses that didn't have that support system. Then for 6 months, it would be people who had children who were had mediumship abilities and also had no one to talk to and nowhere to turn. So it really became a family and it became a community. We had it was like up and down, up and down. We had, so you want to be a ghost hunter. It was like a series of workshops that would teach you how to use the equipment or how to make a team or what all these labels, what a case manager should do. And then all of a sudden we grew teams out of that. And those teams are still active in Vancouver as we speak, which is kind of cool, like to see that it's all there needs to be in the paranormal is access and availability and, hey, like the kind of willingness to teach and the willingness to learn and reach out. Yeah. I think I don't know if my so I'll just keep talking. We're having storms on our side here, so I don't know if that's what affecting us or maybe it's just my great storytelling. So, well, I'll tell you a bit about myself. Yeah, so for me, ghost hunting, I didn't even really realize it was a thing. I was obsessed with ghost stories when I was younger, and I just wanted to know every single story, wanted to read any comic book or any like storybook. Or I grew up in Scotland, so we had these, well, you're probably quite familiar with the dandies and the beanos and the girls ones always had it was the annuals, and every Christmas I would get the girls ones because they had ghost stories in them, and they were always the creepiest, weirdest stories about your best friend visiting you and not being able to understand because you'd moved away and you spent the best day with her, and then you go home and find out that she died that morning. Like totally tragic, but I was obsessed. Like I was like, could that actually happen? Like, is this a real thing? Or just reliving a dream over and over and over again.
Yeah.
And then realizing it was not a dream. It was a tragic accident where you lost your parents. So a bit of a morbid curiosity, but also it's the stories and the storytelling. So that's really what got me into the paranormal.
Yeah.
And also just the good old, I grew up in Ayr, so we had a big Robert Burns thing going on there too. And
right. Yeah.
As well would just absolutely fascinate me. And where my grandparents lived, they lived on the river, and right across was the graveyard. Why can't I think of the word graveyard? And so I would just watch over and just look and wait and see if I could see anything. And my grandpa would take me over and take me for walks and tell me stories. And his big thing was I had to learn the history. I had to learn the history. Then he would tell me the ghost stories, which was, I mean, I remember being 13 and just horrified that I had to learn everything about Anne Boleyn before I could even hear the story. Tell me about the Tower of London. I was just like,
making you do your research.
Exactly. So no, Amanda, coloring in a coloring book is not research. I don't know how I thought that it would be, but yes.
It's worth a try.
Yeah.
Cool. So from there, um, so you said you grew up in Scotland, but you now live in Canada, or you did live in Canada, or you still do?
Yeah, I live everywhere. No,
All right.
I grew up like I was born in Canada, and I was actually
Ah,
adopted. So I was born in a community in northern Manitoba, and back then our government had a big thing about adopting kids from say native communities out
right.
to different parts of the world. Let's
Yeah.
let's be honest. And it was called the 60 Scoop. So I was moved and adopted out to Scotland, to a family in Scotland.
Yeah.
The thing about that is my father was part of the Royal Canadian Air Force. So we got put back into Canada after a while. So
Right.
yeah,
So
so
he
my
was
dad was
traveling
Canadian
around.
and my mother was Scottish. So that's how I ended up back in Canada. That's why I don't have an accent. I
Right.
used to. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's or I guess maybe I have an accent now. I don't know.
It's not. It's North American.
Yeah, yeah, it's
I
definitely
can't
North
hear any
American.
Scottish.
Every so often it comes out and it's pretty funny because Rob's like, "You sound like your mom." I'm like, no. But we're down south now, so I'm in the States now,
Yeah.
and so like the accents down here are fascinating. So
Right.
yeah, we're right on the border of Georgia. So even if you go into Georgia, it's the old Savannah drawl to the just the kind of
Right. Okay.
there's times I don't know what is being said.
Really.
Yeah.
It's
It's just
that broad.
it is. It is.
Just have to nod and smile. Yeah.
I do that.
Yeah.
And then they're
Is
asking
that
me
what you do?
questions and I'm like,
Yeah.
what?
No, I don't know what you're saying.
Yeah. Just hopefully this awkward moment passes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. So, I was going to say, so, because you said you're Native American.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, do you want to talk about that?
Yeah,
About that side of
absolutely.
the, it, like spirituality side of it?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yes, I think that I was always waiting my life because like I said, I was adopted out from my community. So I grew up without my culture and I grew up without those lessons. So I feel like I spent my entire life waiting for that spirituality to come to me or
Yeah.
that lesson, or once I was reunited, it would just all magically make sense. And
Yeah.
I think more what it taught me is I always had it. It was always in me. It's a part of me, part of my culture, part of
Yeah.
my blood memory, let's say. So I think that that's where my fascination with the storytelling and with the spiritual side of things came. And in my family, we come from a long line of very traditional, very spiritual people. And I I always got told by mediums that there was certain fellows that were following me. That
All
sounds odd,
right.
yeah. But in the spirit world, and that were actual like descendants of my ancestors, and they
Yeah.
were following my spiritual path, and it didn't kind of add up because I didn't have any backstory. When I did reunite with my family, that one of the first things they said, it's like, "Oh, we noticed Coldspotters. You're a ghost hunter." And I was like, in
Yeah.
this odd conversation. And they said there's always one in every generation, and we
Ah,
didn't know where you were. We've been waiting for you. I was like, "Oh," and so I've been learning a little bit more, but it's like I didn't need to be reunited with them to tap into that to follow my path.
right.
Um,
Yeah. Sorry, I was
so
just going to ask you that. Did you
mhm.
find it easy going back to your own culture? Was it easier than you thought it was, or was there a struggle?
um, It was hard. It was harder than I thought it was. I thought it would
Right.
be very much like a natural thing that it would just all make
Yeah,
sense.
just
And
slip straight back in.
yeah, exactly. I'm
Yeah.
here. And
Yeah.
it was the emotions and the everything that go with it. Like it was a very pivotal
Yeah.
part in my life, and probably in my story that it always will be. And for so long, I really I steered away from answering questions about spirituality in my native background, or even using that as a tool in my investigation style. It was a hard thing for me to process and for me to understand and know where that limit is, and also seeing what's going on over in Canada. We're not quite where we need to be with the relationship between Indigenous people and Canada itself.
Right.
So it's a hard and interesting journey, but I wouldn't change it at all. I definitely thank my stars for who I am. If that makes sense.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing everything's good now with your community and the family and the spiritual. I can't even say it now. Spirituality. I have to say it slow.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm guessing all that's working well for you now.
It is.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, it's definitely a process, and I welcome it fully.
Cool. So so when you went back to Canada and you moved back in and everything like settled down and that,
Mm-hmm.
what happened then? Where did it take you?
Well, when I came back to Canada, I moved into a house that was very, very active. Now, I did mention that I was adopted, and I grew up with that family. Unfortunately, that adoption, I don't know how else to say it, didn't stick. So I ended up back in care, and I was a ward of the court, and basically meaning like I grew up in foster homes and group homes once I was back in Canada.
Yeah.
One of those homes was an unbelievably active haunt.
Wow.
And that was a very, well, not such a young age. I would have been closer to 13, 14.
Right,
And I lived in a character home. It was a few hundred years old. And it housed 8 of us adolescent girls. So you can imagine, all with different levels of trauma and stress. So books were flying off shelves. Like we were we weren't doing it. Like I think our energy was like popping crown molding out off the walls. It was always around the times when things would escalate with staff and such. So that was kind of my crash course in dealing with it myself, and not just reading a book, not just coming up with different terms. And
So do you think that was poltergeist activity? Because obviously they say that female adolescents can not cause, but can help the energy to escalate.
Yes, I think so. I've never seen anything like that again, and I sometimes wonder if I ever will. Now Robb, he believes that I seem to do that even in our house. Our house is extremely active where we are now in the States, and sometimes he thinks it's me that's causing the activity. I always get blamed for it. No,
I would say it's definitely not Rob's fault, is it?
No, never. He causes no emotions in here.
There's nothing to do with him going out, doing all this ghost hunting and bringing attachments back.
Full of gimmicks, and not gimmicks, like different like gadgets and things to, I don't know, activate.
To contact the other side.
Exactly.
Yeah, but it's not his fault.
We'll
We'll blame him. It's all right.
Yeah.
Right. We've got a few questions, if that's okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. So, first one is from Blue Shift. He's asking, has Amanda seen any cryptids? If so, which ones or which?
Well, I have smelt, and I believe I've seen Sasquatch, Bigfoot, and I wasn't even looking for one, but it found me. It was in British Columbia, up in BC, close to where the Harrison It's called Harrison Hot Springs. It's a very active Bigfoot territory, and it's
Right,
very
okay.
traditional. It's actually really connected with our First Nations people out there. So a lot of their tales they kind of keep very close to their chest. But this was a kind of a traditional area, and we were there looking for spirits, let's say,
Yeah.
elementals, and we were told that there was eyes in the woods. So we went out to the woods to find these eyes and to discover this. And all of a sudden, we all just felt very uneasy. I felt almost like almost targeted. Like it was. I knew if I
Like
went
it
away
was
from the
zoning
group.
in on you.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
And there was one other girl with us who was a First Nation descent as well, and she was like, "It's for here. It's for here. It's here for us."
Right.
So she was getting the same feeling, and she says we need to leave. Um, whenever I go out in the woods, whenever I'm doing any sort of, if I'm squatching or if I'm, ghost hunting or anything or looking for any sort of elementals, I always bring a FLIR because I want to see if there are coyotes or what have you
Yeah, yeah.
around. Um, so we turned it on. We couldn't find anything within the FLIR, and but we could hear something walking in the bushes kind of close to us.
Right.
Now, her and another fellow on our team named Carlos, they went into that area and they were looking, and they both just all of a sudden like reeled back from the smell. And
Yeah.
it was just absolutely horrible. And it's like it just hit you like a punch, let's say.
Yeah, just out of nowhere.
Yeah, and it wasn't a bear. It wasn't any sort of like mountain lion. There was nothing that I've never smelled anything like it. And it was gone as soon as it came as well. That was the other
Yeah.
odd thing. Now I said, I'm kind of done. I was a little bit freaked out by it. They all went up further up. It was on a mountain. They all went further up in the mountain, and I stayed at the bottom and just kind of kept an eye out. There was, you could hear like parties in the distance, and I didn't
Yeah,
want
yeah.
kids that were hanging out in the woods or anything to kind of creep up on us or mess with us in any way.
Right.
And the other lady, she came up to me and she was really upset. Like she was quite upset, but she could tell that I was scared. And she's like, "What's bothering me the most is I've never actually seen you scared. I've never seen you react like this. So the
Right.
fact that you're reacting is freaking me out." So I was like, "Okay, stop reacting.
Right.
Be a good lead here." And so
Yeah,
I kind of got my sense about me again. And she said, "I just feel like something keeps walking up behind me." And I
yeah,
was like, "Okay, well, just come closer to me. We're okay. We're down.
yeah,
We're in the open. Nothing's gonna happen. Like, just come closer to me. We have flashlights, everything." I was like, "We can keep them off if you want, so nobody knows where we are or what have you." And she came right up close to me. She's like, I feel it again. I feel like something's behind me."
yeah,
And so I looked behind her and I said to her, like, "There's absolutely nothing behind you. You're okay. You are okay. But we're going to walk and we're going to go back to the cars and we'll just sit in the cars. We'll walk you up to them, tell them that we're gone."
yeah,
In all reality, what happened is I look behind her and this thing just rose up like so tall behind her, like just a big dark, like not a shot. It was solid. It was solid, but it was like lamppost size. I was like,
wow.
it was good job for not freaking out. Yes, there's something behind
Yeah,
you, run. But it was very much you knew that what you were seeing you were not supposed to see.
yeah,
Um, it was like a bit of a warning, but it was more of a get the fuck out of here.
yeah,
Sorry.
yeah, yeah. No, no,
Sorry.
no. I,
But it was very much
I'm
overwhelming.
it's my territory. You
Yeah,
need to go, sort of
exactly.
thing.
Yeah, it
This is
was
this is your only warning.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
No,
of course the
yeah,
rest of the team were like, let's get back in there. And I'm like,
no,
no,
no.
no.
That's the thing. I would find when I've gone out doing investigations, I've not had anything that's just. I have seen stuff, but
Mhm.
when you get that warning, my gut feeling. I'll get a message in my head. It's not.
Mhm.
I don't know if it's my subconsciousness, but I get it's time to go. And once I get that, I'm not arguing with that because I
Yeah.
don't know what I'm arguing with for a start.
Mhm.
So it's like, right, we're leaving, we're going. And these in the chat will be like, no, stay, we want to see where it is. It's like, well, you come down it. You
Yeah.
come and have a look. I'll phone you, and then you can tell me where it is. I'm
Mhm.
not. You get that message. It's time to leave.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, what possibly could I have done? I did not have a big net. I could not have caught a Bigfoot that night. It would have
No.
caught me. And we would not
Yeah.
be having this conversation.
Well, do you find though, once you kind of like start to freak out, like, not on the inside, because I know it starts on the inside first. Do you find it difficult then to regain control of the situation?
Um, no, because, and I think I must have done this on purpose, but it's almost like I trained myself to use that fear or that energy to kind of motivate or ask for more activity or to kind of like on my own RF pump.
Yeah,
So
so like an adrenaline boost.
yes, yes.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
it's not so much that I'm looking for that next thrill, thrill,
yeah,
but just to kind of keep myself going and keep myself aware. So it's when I feel that fear and that kind of that growing fear, it's more for me to like use my intuition and okay, if this is what I'm looking for, then why would I not follow through? I get that things can be overwhelming and I get that things can be um, shocking at times. But when it comes to that fear, I will use it for more of a tool. But at the same
yeah.
time, safety checks. Maybe
Oh
it's
yeah,
showing me like smarten up.
yeah. So when you said you felt it was like its intentions was to contact you, do you think with because of your culture, do you think it was contacting you in your friend colleague more so because of the history?
I think so. Yes. I also think as well, like a lot of our legends and storytelling in that area and in the area surrounding, there's a few different, not so much cryptids, but kind of legendary people that we believe in
Yeah,
or creatures. And doing what I do, I am walking kind of a fine line within the spirit world and my own reality, let's say. Um,
yeah,
so there is a direct connection um, with wild woman, let's say
yeah,
Sasquatch, and the spirit world, and there is usually someone in between that kind of communicates or honors them.
yeah,
Let's leave it at that. I can't really
yeah.
explain it getting
No, no,
too into it, but
yeah.
it's very protected legend. But I definitely feel that my culture leads me to play a role in it.
I'm guessing that the phenomena
Hmm.
believe or sees you that you're more trusted than a lot
Hmm.
of the other cultures, without
Yes.
going into detail.
Yeah, well, it's also like keeping our own culture and keeping our own beliefs and traditions sacred to us.
Yeah,
We're kind of coming out of a really hard period, just within residential schools and 60 scoops and everything that's happening socially and within spiritually as well.
yeah,
We're a healing group of people. We really are. And a lot of these traditions have not been passed down as they should be, through families and orally, and a lot of the lessons are not getting earned, let's say.
right.
So for me to, and I'll explain that a little bit too, it's like for me to speak out and like say, this is the legend of Bigfoot, and this
Yeah,
is why it's very sacred to us, would be very out of turn, because
right.
that's something that not all our people know and haven't been taught and haven't had the opportunity to be privy to that. So who would I be to share it with
Yeah. So
everyone?
so I'm guessing you're having to re-educate yourself with the history of everything
Hmm.
that's happened.
Yes, definitely. But also re-educate myself on how to be me, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Like the real you. Yeah.
Yes, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Kind of reach that kind of potential, and um, it's hard too because we grow up, we're aging, and we're starting to
Yeah.
lose people that are those knowledge bringers and kind of
Yeah.
knowledge keepers. So it's taking responsibility for yourself and for your own story, but also taking responsibility for the people that come behind us, and
Yeah.
keeping these things alive for them. We always say two ahead and four behind. It's
Yeah.
like seven generation, and we have to make sure that what we're doing is with respect and
Yeah.
full everything for our elders. But what we're doing, that footprint has got to be good for the people that are coming
Yeah.
behind
So I
us.
suppose it's giving the right information
Hmm.
as well, and
Yes.
making
Yeah,
sure it's passed on correctly.
it's a balancing act.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Definitely.
It's spinning plates, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, it's hard too because there's so many misconceptions, especially here in North America, like the old Native Indian burial ground. Ooh.
Yeah.
That's not a thing, and it's
All
like
right.
so. It's very frustrating, and to kind of speak out against that, and it's like, okay, I also understand why it's been led to believe that it is a thing too, to keep
Yeah.
other things sacred. So it's very it's very
It,
tricky, and
it's
everyone out
a
here is a shaman
misconception.
now. Hmm.
Yeah.
It's just I get
Right.
asked that quite a bit, and I'm not.
All
I'm
right.
not. Yeah. And not all native people are psychic, but a bunch of us are.
Yeah. No, thank you for that. Appreciate it. Got a couple more questions. Next one is from Ancient Ruby. What is Amanda's aim in life?
Hmm. Honestly, my aim is to kind of clear that path, to clear the path for other people, to provide safe places for learning, for being yourself, to follow your passions, and not be scared of yourself along the way. I think that's my main objective when it comes to the paranormal. Um, it it kind of it's with Coldspotters, with everything. I just want to be able to give people the knowledge that they can do anything they want to do, and
Yeah.
yeah, that's maybe just like get my story out, and how restricting a lot of things in my life were, or how much I restricted myself. So
Yeah.
um, provide that kind of space for other people.
Thank you. Next one. Oh, done that one. From Ancient Ruby again. She's asking, what abilities does Amanda have?
Hmm. I can dance. I can. I am. I'm very. I don't know. Like I, I, I am a medium. I don't generally reveal that too much.
Right.
I haven't really been very open about my psychic abilities, um, but I'm starting to, and I'm trying to, and trying
Yeah.
to kind of trust my own gut with that. But yes,
Yeah.
I definitely have. I'm I'm learning a lot more about seeing things,
Yeah.
because I actually went blind about a year ago, and
Oh
so
no.
I've been yeah, it was pretty intense. It was terrifying, but I've had multiple surgeries, and I can
Yeah.
see it now, but I'm not as well. Like I was 2020, and then
Yeah.
one day I woke up and Rob was helping me cross the street. Like it
Wow.
was absolutely
That
crazy.
must have
But
been so scary.
the oddest thing is that's when I started being able to see things psychically,
Ah.
which is yeah. So I'm really learning with that. My big one is that claircognizant. Is that claircognizant? Maybe Ruby can help with that. But yeah, I know things. I know when I walk into a room what's happened there. I
Right.
can feel
Okay.
those energy imprints. It caused me a lot of grief when I was younger. It caused me a lot of social anxieties. Like
Yeah.
I still to this day I really struggle with walking into a place first. Which
Right.
Rob is like, stop making me look bad. I'm like, like, he's shoving me in places, and I'm like, I
Yeah.
can't do it first. And
Yeah.
yeah, so I have a hard time entering buildings because it's like, number one, all the energy for the people that are in there, but number two, also just the energy of the building or anything that's happened there.
Yeah. Yeah.
When I was younger, I would cross the street if somebody was coming with that funk on them, because I would
Yeah.
know what they've done, and I've known, and sometimes it was just horrible that I hadn't learned how to kind of close myself off. So
Yeah.
that's my big one, is just that knowing.
Yeah. Ancient Ruby just put Claire sentiment.
Clairsentient. Yeah. What's the claircognizant then? Ooh, yeah. Like,
Yeah. Ruby will probably tell us. Somebody. I get confused with all of them. There's so many. It's like
yeah.
I only thought it was clairvoyant, and that was it. Didn't know about all these other Claires, so to
Yeah.
speak. And then
I know there's
one after the other after the other.
I've done
Wow.
like psychic workshops and everything, and you all have to, let's name the 5 Claires, and I'm like, oh, I
Yeah.
got it. And I think that they changed one. I swear they did.
Well,
I don't think they did.
Ruby said there's no such thing. It's made up. So
well, it's now a
I
thing.
don't know. I don't know.
It's the ability to, I don't know.
Know what's what. Know what's
Yeah,
going on.
exactly.
Yeah.
I'm so psychic, I'm confused. I'm claircognizant.
Yeah. So when, sorry, I don't want to pry too much, but when you went blind and you could start seeing in your mind of what was going on, how did that affect you? Did you like, wow, this is amazing, or was it a bit, oh, this is proper freaky?
It was a little bit of
A bit of both.
Yeah, because when you pretty much lose all your vision, like it was like I could still see light. I just couldn't, it was almost like there was like curtains. And so I could still see things. Now, if I didn't have my paranormal background, I think I would have absolutely just lost my, poop, because it was horrible. I would see full shadows just walking past me.
Right.
And because my brain would be like, well, what is this? Well, clearly it's a person. But I'd be absolutely alone. I had a black dog who would jump on and off the couch. It would come up to bed. When I would go to bed, it would like come up to the bed. There was a black cat for a while. And it was really probably just something that caused a shadow. And then of course my brain, it's almost like was matrixing. It was exactly what it was doing. So we have a lot of animals. We have a lot of we don't have a lot of, well, I have one tall dark figure that walks around this place, but other than that, but that's
Robb.
what I would see. Yeah. He's my shadow person.
Yeah.
But that's what my brain would show me. But now when I was actually doing paranormal investigation, I was like, okay, well, we can't rely on my eyes. So I'll do audio, or but that's when I started seeing, at one point I was actually just working, I was like doing some researching and doing writing, and starting to get a little bit of eyesight back. So with magnifying glasses and stuff, I could see things.
Right.
So I had a tablet and everything zoomed right in. And then it was almost like there was this I came to a point where I was like, oh, I think I'm on the right trail. And it was almost like a smoke came right in front of me. And then a woman came up right up to me and like looked at me and kind of like took the smoke back. And it was almost like vaporous. And I was like, okay, that's nothing like these dogs and cats that I see. It was very clear. And then she backed off. Now, the thing about her is I could draw her. I recognized her. I knew who she was because I've seen her in my dreams.
Ah,
Now I have a friend who is very good with energy work, and I got in her car one day, and she's like, that woman is like just hounding you, and I was like, what woman?
yeah.
She's like, oh, I had a dream about you, and there was a woman that followed you, and she's almost got like a blacky vapor smoke, and there's something that she wants from you, but I don't know whether or not I should tell her to go away. And I was like, don't tell her to come closer. No. But she was very, very taken by it. So when I drew the picture,
Yeah.
I asked her to do the same thing. And it was the same woman that I saw walking right up to me. She actually was just picking up on her energy. And then she started seeing her in dream as well. And she didn't even know whether or not to tell me. So that was kind of the most eye-opening one where I was like, whoa, wait a second. Like this is really happening. And then I started seeing, I actually seeing like almost like vortexes, um, and I swear, like before would see this, I would tell people they don't really exist that much. Like, oh, every haunted place has a vortex. I don't
Yeah.
really subscribe to those beliefs, let's say, until I started seeing them, and it was quite intense. Just different kind of wormholes. Yeah, like, and it's really that balancing act of, is this my eyes or is this actually my abilities? So um I started being like, if I started seeing like a man in my friend's apartment hallway, and
Yeah.
I'd see him quite a bit, and he would kind of come at me, and um he really wanted attention. That's really what he wanted. And then so I went to her house one day and I said, just before we even started with anything, what's in your apartment? Like, what's in your apartment complex? And she's like, oh,
Yeah.
are you talking about the little man? And I was like, yeah. She's like, just ignore him. He just wants attention. And I was like, it was just so odd. Because like, yeah. So that's a new one for me, but
Yeah.
cool.
Ah. I've got a question for you, but Joe, who does the moderating, she's just, I'm guessing she's looked on Google. So claircognizance, however you pronounce it, is a psychic sense meaning clear knowing, a thirst for outer knowledge through books can sometimes. Oh, and that was it. I don't know
But
what
be
can
clear
some.
cognizant, really no. No. But yes, I do believe that that's the one that I was, yeah, it's like almost like you just know when you know, and that's
Yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah. You know, without having to second guess.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So
So
that one's been very, very strong with me. So thank you, Jojo.
yeah, I've got. It's a double question. So, did any of these abilities start while you was living in Scotland? And also, do you think that part of the reason you lost your eyesight was to bring out your abilities?
Um, the first part, not that I knew. I think that a lot of it was always there. So I think I, you know, always had that, well, thirst for that, for the storytelling, and so I think that I was being drawn in certain ways.
Yeah.
um so yeah, I think that they were there, but not that I knew. I remember the first time I came to Canada, we went into a museum in Victoria, British Columbia, actually,
Yeah.
and there was all these different artifacts and totem poles. And up until this point, I didn't even know that I was First Nations. I was told I wasn't. One of the things
All
when they
right. Okay.
adopted me, it was because I'm so white. I'm so white, so light skinned, that they wouldn't really, I wouldn't know. So just
Right.
don't tell me. And when I walked into that part of the museum and the artifacts, all of a sudden it was like I could feel my heart almost like a drum.
Yeah.
And there had the drum music in the background, but it was almost like I could feel that inside of me. And I there was something wrong with all those artifacts being there, and there was something that someone wasn't telling me, and I knew. And I remember asking my mom pretty quickly. I think I would have been around 6 or so, um, if I was if I was a little Indian girl, because I got called that a few times. And actually, someone actually once said, "Why don't you have braids?" I always had short hair.
Yeah.
And she's like, no, you're not. Like, why would you think that? And I was like, I couldn't tell her. Well, because I went into the museum and the bones were talking to me. But that's really how I started to understand that there was a little bit more than meets the eye. Well,
Yeah.
maybe, yeah. And then the second question, I think yes. I think it was a really tough lesson, but
Yeah.
I needed it.
Yeah.
I think that a lot of things in life that we go through, a lot of our sacrifices are, you
Yeah. For
do
a
have to
purpose.
sacrifice to gain, right?
Yeah.
So, I think so.
No,
I don't
thank
need
you.
to go through it again.
No. Once is enough. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. You got 100% on your test, so it's all good.
Woo!
Right. Rob's in the chat, so
Oh gosh.
he's put a question up. So I'm going to do it anyway because it's quite
Oh my
funny.
gosh, I can have.
So, if spirits are boarding, can they use their pants as a hat?
Rob, no, your pants are not a hat. Put them on your legs.
Yes.
Oh, I tell you.
I bet he sat there just already just
Yeah,
staring.
no. That's just, he's magical. Like this pen
Yeah.
is now a hat.
Ah,
Yeah.
amazing. He should go on America's Got
That's
Talent.
one of those lessons taught to me by Rob.
Yeah. Yeah, he should go on America's Got Talent with her. You might make the auditions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I've never seen a sheet ghost with hair, so I think that all spirits are bald.
Possibly.
That is a very bold statement by Amanda Quill.
Oh, thank you. Right. Back to the serious questions, Rob. So this is from Ancient Ruby again. How does Amanda protect herself?
Amanda really needs to learn her own lessons with this one.
All right.
Amanda,
you don't wear a pen as a hat, do you?
We're now in third person. Yeah, I'm very much an afterthought person with protection, because a lot of times when I'm going in there, I'm like, well, why am I protecting myself before I'm trying to, contact these people? I have had attachments, let's say. I have had to do more cleansing than protecting, and I think that I need to balance that a little bit better. So
yeah,
that's an honest answer. I do have Rob here who has made our bedroom, like our master bedroom, or like a absolute like haven for protection. Like it's absolutely crazy how quiet it is in there now, because it's unbelievable. But the rest of our house is not so quiet, especially his room. So he's got a little haunted room, and like I said, we're learning our lessons, let's say. So we're trying to find that balancing act of protection, not cleansing. It's better to ask forgiveness than permission or something.
No. I don't know. No, I've got a load of crystals, and I've got a few what I keep in the car as well. So when I go out to do an investigation, I'll speak to spirit guides first about whether I should go and do it, and I'd use a pendulum and a chart. Sometimes, the answer will be no, but the majority of the time it's a yes. So I kind of go with that, not 100% gospel, but if it says yeah, then to me that's a good indication that it's safe to go to where I'm going to be going for that investigation. So, and then so if I'm going to be going somewhere new, I'll always try and do like field research before and go there during the day, check it all out, the ground, and where, like, I was not escape routes as such, but if anything happens, how to get out of there without getting stuck.
Right. Yeah.
So I always try and do that beforehand, but it's not always possible.
No.
So that's pretty much all I do.
Yeah, but
So
that's
I think I need to.
But like
teach
when you're
myself.
saying that, it makes a lot of sense. And I do I'll go into a location on my own. I kind of like I call it my lone wolfing, but I'll go in by myself and almost like introduce myself to the location and to whatever is in there, and introduce my team. I do that pretty much like ritual. So maybe that's my protection is kind of like just saying.
Do you do that vocally, or do you do it in your head?
I do both.
Right.
I do both. Like sometimes it's just like a kind of nod, but yeah, so that would be more in my head. But yeah, no, I walk through places talking to walls, no problem.
not just me then. No,
Yeah,
a lot of the time, I suppose I do it without even knowing. So say I go somewhere, I'll be doing it in my head like, I'm Andy, I'm here just to have a look around, not here to harm anyone and stuff. Because when I say it out loud, it sounds so ridiculous.
Yeah.
Especially if it's like other people walking past, like, what the hell? Okay. So it just seems like you said, it seems automatic now.
Yeah.
No. So yeah, thank you for that answer. So I'm just reading the chat and trying to unread it as well. Right. Oh, here we go. So this is from Jojo, the moderator again. Her question is, has Amanda had any bad experiences? I'm guessing she means during an investigation or...
Well, life's been perfect.
Yeah.
I definitely have had some intense experiences, let's say. I once got so almost like really I don't want to say traumatized, but like really upset by one experience that I had where I saw some figures that just really kind of like chilled me. It took me a while to get over that. So it was a little bit like we were saying, like using that fear to kind of motivate you. I've always been able to kind of push through. So I think that would be my bad experience. But once again, like I was able to kind of get through it and like face that block. Yeah, that was the only time that anything had ever blocked me. And I actually didn't talk about it for years, not because I was embarrassed. I was almost crying in an investigation, but it was just more because I didn't want anyone else to go look for them. I didn't want anyone else to who didn't have kind of that background or that wherewithal to walk into that. Because I think a lot of the things that we look at as bad experiences or bad activity, a lot of it's just kind of us kind of like trumping it up to be that. So I didn't want to like alter anyone else's belief systems, or because it sure altered mine.
Right. Yeah, no, it's that. Have you ever been anywhere and then not? So if you've been out on an investigation, and the energy has been that bad that you've just never gone back to that same location. Have you ever had anything like that?
Well, it's an odd answer, but yes, but not because I wouldn't have gone back. It burnt down like 2 weeks after we investigated, and it was really like it stuck with us. And it was one of those cases where the house itself was just really full of stuff and like borderline kind of hoarding experiences. And Rob and I were just talking about this the other night. But we left mid-investigation because it was just not like there was like litters of kittens in the house. Like it was like not a good place, but there was a darkness there that was lurking within that mess. So we said that you're going to have to clear some stuff out. We're going to have the cats out. We can't work in here, but we want to help you. And we left. And
Yeah.
it was 2 weeks later, I saw on the news the house was just up in flames. And I don't know, like I really was kind of messed up about it because I was like, okay, well, the reality is it was not a safe environment. Um,
Right.
but to feel that kind of like darkness, let's say,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
then have the house burn, I was like,
Yeah.
oh no, like what did we do? Like, why did we walk away from that? Like,
Yeah. So
um,
did he find out what caused it to burn down?
no, we never found out. We did contact the lady, but she was in full belief that it was definitely paranormal in nature.
Right.
But there's no way that, I think, I mean, it was a mess. It was a mess.
Right.
And like there was, I don't know, like there was ashtrays everywhere as well too. So
Ah, right. Okay. Yeah.
yeah,
So
there's more reasons why it was not paranormal than why it would
yeah,
have
yeah,
been.
yeah.
It still is very like jarring though.
Right. No, thank you. Right. Are you all right to do the 5 minute break now?
Yes.
Is that okay? Then we'll carry on with the questions. Yeah.
Yeah,
Perfect. Right.
sounds good.
See you all in 5.
9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Hello, and we are back. So we'll carry on with the questions, if that's okay, Amanda?
Yes, I love questions.
Perfect. Right. So I asked, I don't know if you've seen the chat.
The outcome can be predicted.
Oops.
Oh,
I had Mr. Predicto on in the break.
I asked Rob in the chat, when's he coming back on?
Mhm.
So I don't know where this is going to lead me, or if you're going to leave,
my.
or if you're going to just never speak to me ever again. But he said, Andy, I'll return if you ask Amanda who opened the closet.
No,
I have no idea what he's talking about.
The closet is not open.
Oh, there you go. It's not open.
Mm-hmm. He was very upset along on the break that nobody was answering his question. So yes, Rob, you can call Ghosts Bay.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Important.
I didn't realize that was a question because he didn't put it. We asked people to put the questions in capitals so we know it's a question.
Oh, yeah. That's yeah, he didn't know that.
It just makes it easy. So when I'm filtering, there's your answer. Right. Right. So to the real questions. It's from Ancient Ruby. Has Amanda camped out or planned to camp out soon near native Indian mountain range? If so, she must take great caution to protect herself.
That's a great that almost sounds more like heady than a question. And and I think that that's absolutely nail on the head with protecting myself. I do plan to camp out always, and then I remember that I'm a creature of comfort, so I never actually get out. But there is part of my own kind of spiritual journey is connecting with a few a few elements that probably would go under the native Indian mountain range area. So it's yes, I will do that journey one day, but right now I'm protecting myself by not going. Vague answer, but hey.
No, thank you.
Yeah. I appreciate the thoughts though, because I think that was more of a
it's like where you go in, and if you do go, make sure you
be careful. Exactly. So
right. This is from Nellie Kelly. And does Amanda feel she is more connected and open due to her heritage?
I think yes. And I don't know if that is like heritage specific or if it's more my ancestors, but I guess that would be my heritage. So yes, I think it's within my culture to be very, very connected and to welcome that into how I live my life. So yes, I do.
Yeah. No, thank you. Next question is from Alien Woods. They would like to know: has Amanda seen the Hat Man? And not Rob with his pants on his head.
No, Mr. Pants Man. Yeah, I have seen the Hat Man. I used to do a lot of lucid dreaming and dream work.
Oh, right.
So I was being visited quite a bit. And so I learned how to kind of control my dreams and control what I was doing within dreams. I had to, or else I wouldn't be able to sleep anymore, because I do get a lot of my answers in dreams. So I have.
So what do you believe the Hat Man is? There is a reason I'm asking this question, but I don't want to say anything till I'm not. I'm not trying to trick you or anything, I promise you.
Multiple choice. No, I do believe that a lot of it is within our own minds, and a lot of it
Yeah.
is belief, and I think that it's just the way that our brains work. Because it's amazing what you can do in dream as well too.
Yeah.
So, um, I don't know. Like I don't think I believe that it's an extraterrestrial being or anything. I do believe it's more inner terrestrial.
Yeah. No, the only reason I'm asking that, I had Heidi Hollis on a few weeks ago,
Mm.
and apparently she put the term Hat Man. She did put the name to the shadow person,
Mhm.
and she was saying she believes it's the actual devil himself.
Mm.
I just wondered if you thought the same. That was all. Like I
Um,
said, I wasn't trying to trick you. I just wondered
yeah.
what your
I'm an
answer was going to
alien.
be.
No, I
Everyone has their own
I have
beliefs,
heard that.
so
I've heard that theory that it is the devil, and I believe that I thought like the first time that I had those experiences, I did think it was the devil, but I think that's a lot of the belief system, and not to take anything away from that at all, um, because I love, like I said, I love the storytelling, I love the legends, and I
yeah,
love why people do believe that it's the devil. I think it's fascinating. So, mhm.
yeah. Oh, thank you. Right. Next one is from someone called Rob. He would
Oh,
like to know what telly shows has Amanda been on, if any.
mm,
Is he trying to be
no,
funny?
no.
All right.
Um, well, I mean, paranormal shows, is he asking?
I'm guessing that's what he
Yeah,
means.
I've been on the L Word. I've been on. No. Um, I actually was just recently on a show called, I don't know if you have it out there, but it was Haunted Hospitals. I tell one of my stories on haunted hospitals, and
Yeah.
just various storytelling shows. Yeah.
Oh, right. Okay.
Mhm.
Cool. Are we able to find them?
Um, well, I think
Oh,
haunted hospitals, I think that that's
sorry.
pretty,
I don't
yeah.
mean to butt in. I just seen an orb behind you. So where the door is behind you.
Don't open closet.
No, I did see an orb, and it went from my right,
Mhm.
and it stopped. It went behind your head and then stopped. It was about just above halfway.
Okay.
So just at the bottom of your can on your headphones.
As long as I'm not wearing a hat now, that would be weird.
No, it's just
um,
like a white orb that just went and then
well,
stopped.
it's not unusual for things to happen, and especially in this room. We actually call this room the little girls' room because this is where we've heard children playing
Ah,
from this room. We have names based on activity in this house, but we I don't know. I think it was a couple months ago. I was doing another um, kind of stream session here, and they actually heard. And I haven't. I want to get the actual moment and see if I can get the actual. I don't know, but where there's a growling behind me. So I'm talking. I don't notice it, but
yeah,
it was when people were watching it that it went into the comments. People were like, "Oh my gosh, there was a disembodied growl behind her," and it wasn't when we were live. Nobody noticed it when we were live. It was after the fact. So
yeah.
it played. I believe it's on one of the one that I did for Paraflix, but yeah, that doesn't surprise me. But I do
Right.
not want that door opening. So.
No, sorry, I just seen it. It just went. It was like completely, completely horizontal. Don't want to freak you out. And then it just went, and then
I'm
I
out
was
of
waiting for I was
here.
waiting for it to come out the other side. It's like there's
Yeah.
nothing there.
That would just be,
Sorry
saying
about that.
that's not the devil, and then all of a sudden,
Yeah.
don't talk about me like that.
But I don't know if in the intro part of it, you can
Mhm.
I play it 4 times. You can hear something that sounds like you know. So that was from when I did an interview with the first time. It was with Nathaniel Gillis.
Mhm.
I don't know if you've heard of him.
I have, yes.
He's the demonologist. I was asking him about life on other planets and all that kind of stuff. And then we heard the EVP. So I managed to get the audio out, and I've put the actual EVP in the intro video for
Oh, cool.
this show. So it's always going to be there.
Oh, that's
and it's
so
like,
cool.
yeah, that is the only one
Hmm.
so far that we've picked up. But Nickname was just saying in the chat that around just as we came back on after the break,
Mhm.
it kind of went all funny, and they thought they had an EVP then.
Oh,
But I can't find the comment.
we need like an extra team to listen to it like 2 seconds behind us, so we can always.
Yes, I think they said it was
Rob, you're
907.
hired.
907. There we go. Nicknames put, Rob, have you had feedback voices heard in your home when you are streaming? Oh, I suppose that can be a question to both of you. So when
No,
you've done,
no problem.
have you done when you've done streams before like this, whether StreamYard, YouTube, Teams, or anything, have you ever picked up any EVPs then?
We did. Well, we actually we did it as an EVP session, and and then we did it live on camera, and then we listened back, and Rob picked up on quite a bit.
Yeah.
We got a name, Barbara, and that was in this room that I'm in now, and I believe I asked how many people were in the house, and it was just the two of us, and I think we got a 6, and someone else heard a 7, or he heard a 7, and yeah, so it was quite interesting. So yeah, we have caught things. Now when we are just like we've done EVP sessions here, and then the recorder turns off, so we don't actually get anything. When this is odd, but in the morning times I like to wake up with a bubble bath, and I will go into my bubble bath, and Rob's still asleep. I get up quite a bit earlier than him, so I can hear him snoring. I know the dogs are all asleep, and I know there's no TVs on. Our neighbors are far enough away that I'm not worried that it's them. But I will hear voices talking in the background. I'll hear 2 men, and they argue a little bit, and then I'll hear a man and a woman, and they more have discussions.
Right.
I've also had like something come in and peek in on me, like kind of checking out who's in the bathtub or who's in the bathroom. Yeah, it's really odd. And like we've actually even done like height comparisons, and one of the old owners here, we know his family, let's say, and so we know how tall he was, we know what he looked like and everything. And when we did the comparison on the door to how high he was and then measured it, it was his height. And it was quite soon after he'd passed away. So just things like that. When that's happening, we will actually turn on things, and then it's like everything just turns off, and we don't capture anything. The other day when I was in the bath, I started hearing it, and I pretended like I didn't notice, and I had my phone there already, and I pressed record, and I actually caught it. So that's something that like we are kind of going through, and I'll probably post it on my Facebook at some point, because you can hear a woman like, and then a male voice, and there's nobody awake. I even, you can hear Rob sleeping. He sleeps quietly like a baby, and so I know it wasn't him, but we've both, like, it's the first time we've ever captured it, but we've been living with it for like 3 years, so quite interesting. Mm-hmm.
Oh, thank you. Next question is again from Rob, and he's asking, what are Amanda's thoughts on can't speak again, Superstition Mountain?
Just superstition. I do. I don't know. I don't think I have any thoughts. I've never really thought about Superstition Mountain, to be honest. Yeah.
Oh, have you ever been there?
No.
Oh, all right.
I'm coming up really like,
no, it's
gorgeous place.
I thought it was like, with him asking that, I thought it was going to lead somewhere.
She's like, what has she never talked about?
I'll just throw anything in.
Yeah. Thanks, Rob.
Right. Shall I ignore his questions now, or should we do him? Because he's got another question.
Now I'm gonna like never hear the end of it. You don't know what Superstition Mountain? Like, oh my gosh, there's gonna be a documentary queued up for when I'm done.
So, I've got another. There's another 2 questions from Rob. Do you want me to ask him or not?
Yeah, let's just get through them.
Just get them out of the way.
It's like a band-aid.
Right. So he wants to know, why are the Mohawks considered the best native paranormal investigators, specifically Wolf Tribe?
Because they're extremely dedicated and strong folk. That's
Cool.
why.
Thank
Rob.
you.
It's Wolf Clan,
right.
by the way, Rob. It's a Wolf Clan.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
he needs to.
And there's a story behind that. He just found out that he has Mohawk in his lineage, and his family would come from the Wolf Clan.
So he's jumped onto that.
Yes, so that he just wants to be the best native paranormal investigator now, apparently. Who wears
Why does that not surprise me? Right. Oh, thank you. Next question. I think he wants you to. Well, would Amanda ask anyone present to speak? I'm guessing he doesn't mean me.
No. Do I? Actually, I should get Rob. If you can hear me, speak. No, can you bring one of the recorders in, and then we could maybe try that. But if anyone is present with us and you would like to say hello, we have lots of people listening. If you could say hello. Seems very quiet. Would you like to tell everyone your name? Okay, let's see if we get anything from anyone on that. Even like if people are picking up on like just sensing anything too. I mean, anything that we can do to kind of solve the little mystery of us.
Yeah. So I'm just writing the time down just in case I'm gonna listen to it back and see if we pick anything up. If you know, I'll message you and let you know.
Yeah, that would be cool. Oh, there's a figure it's opening in the closet.
I can see an arm.
I can see an arm.
Does it move?
Oh, is it handing me something? Whoa. You're not even in the shot. He ran out.
No, he's gone.
Yeah, that's your guest appearance.
That's how we get
him. Yeah. Okay, so let's try. I have our little recorder here.
Oh, cool. So is that digital or analog?
It's a DR60. There we go.
Right, okay.
Yeah. There we cool. My light is a little bit. So I'll try that again.
Yeah.
So if there's anyone in here with me that would like to say hello to everyone, now is your chance. Are you able to tell everyone your name? I think we were speaking to a barber before. Is there a barber here with us? So I didn't really see, like, as you know, with these ones, they only will record when it's actually picking up something. So it'll probably just be my string of questions, but try it.
Anyone in here with me that would like to say hello to everyone?
Just put it by the mic.
Are you able to tell everyone your name? I think we were speaking to a barber before. Is there a barber here with us?
No. So did you get something then?
I think at the end there, but
because I muted my mic while you was doing that, so there's nothing coming from my end.
Yeah. Well, it's pretty short, so let's listen to it again. I'll put it right by my mic this time.
If there's anyone in here with me that would like to say hello to everyone, now is your chance. Are you able to tell everyone your name? before. Is there Barbara here with us?
Definitely
It's-
something there.
Yeah.
Did sound like a, yes, Rob just put it sounded like a man. I was thinking that.
I
wasn't
thought that
sure.
as well too.
You get you do get feedback from them, don't you? But
Yes.
it
Yeah.
was obviously it wasn't your fault. Wasn't your voice.
No, and it was. It seemed that there was enough of a gap between when I stopped the recording and the voice as well. Because sometimes too, I find like if you're moving it or you go to press it, you can get the
Yeah, you get the clicking sound, don't you?
yeah, exactly. So, tell us what you think, people.
Yes.
I love doing that kind of
Well,
stuff.
we've got that sounded like the EVP. You might have got it. Might have been Amanda's recorder playing. Definitely something sounded like a man. Someone else said, Adam saying feedback. I could hear it during the questions. That's from Rob. Nicknames asking. Can you ask if they tried to communicate earlier?
Should I ask on recording or just ask now? I'll just ask now because we're recording anyway.
Oh yeah, I was listening to it back. Get people to watch it again.
So if you're still here with us, are you able to tell us if you were trying to communicate earlier? Was that you that we heard? If so, thank you. We'll see.
Yeah. I always wonder how long a gap do you give it?
Yeah. Well, usually I would go a little bit longer, but I don't know.
Just
the audience, someone like just clicking in now. Just
we both just sat there like I'm there with my eyes shut, my head tilted. Right. Now, hopefully, we'll get something. When you came back, right. So, Blue Shift has just said what at the end of the recording sounded like when we came back on after the break.
Okay.
So
that's interesting.
And
I definitely, I was already back here and had all my gear on.
Yeah, because I can. Yeah, because I can see in the bottom two, at the bottom of the screen, we've got the two cameras that are off screen, so you can see who's in and who's not. And Rob said she didn't record. She is no Mohawk. He's slating, you know. Just when he goes to the shop, just lock him out.
Yeah.
All right. Back to the questions then. So I'm just going to see if I've missed any. I was getting too involved in that. I wasn't looking at most of the chat.
Wait, take this whole thing sideways here.
Sorry about this. Right. Next one is from Ancient Ruby again. Do you ever rescue a grounded spirit that refuses to pass on or just talk to them, then leave?
Well, now I believe I'm of the belief that some spirits are supposed to be grounded. And so it's not their job to, let's say, cross over or go to the spirit world. It's they're supposed to be grounded, and so I will talk to them and kind of tell them how to ground themselves. So maybe they're not wandering, let's say, or lost. They at least have that kind of availability if they do want to, fully go.
Well, thank you. Next one is from Nellie. She wants to know, is the haunted hospital episode Amanda was on the Richard Estep show he did?
Is it
Sorry, I'll just read it again because it didn't make sense when I read it then. Is the haunted hospital episode Amanda was on was it on the Richard Estep show that he did?
I don't know if it was on his show, but I believe that he was on that, and somebody can help me. But yes, I believe he's on the same episode. Yes, and he was on my story too.
Thank you.
Hmm.
Right. Next one is from Nickname again, and she wants to know: has Amanda ever found relatives with or without her ability?
Ooh, with I will. I'll try. I'll tell you the. Well, there's no other way that I would have found them other than with Liz Gift, and at the time I was working at a job I hated, absolutely detested it. I wasn't happy. I was driving my friends and family bananas because if I wasn't working, I was complaining about work. I was just in that place and I was stuck.
Just in the zone of work. And
everyone's saying there's no
get out of it.
Yeah, there's no job that's worth this. Like, get out. And I was just at work and I was so overwhelmed. I was absolutely like pulling my hair out, just, stuck in it. And there was a commercial in Canada, at least it was like V8, and it was they would go up to people and knock them in the head with a V8 bottle, and it was like, have a V8, like take a break, have a V8. And it was almost like I had that feeling like someone knocked me on the head. So I always call it my V8 moment. But it was like I was working, and then I just stopped. And all I could think in my head was, this is not what's important. This is not important. And I was like, yes, I got to get this done. This is what it's important. Like, I need to get paid. And I turned my chair sideways, and I couldn't even get back think about work, because that's all that was in my head over and over and over again. And I stared at the wall, and there was it's just a plain white wall. And I said, then what is important? If this is not what's important, what is important? And nothing. I got nothing.
Oh.
And great story. No. But then I turned back to my desk, and I minimized all my screens, and I Googled 60 Scoop, and I wanted to see what was going on about that. And I was like, maybe that's what this message is. So I Googled it, and I'm like, oh, it's actually picking up traction. People are paying attention to it. There's hundreds of kids displaced, thousands actually, to all sorts of different countries. And a lot of them too can't even come back and reunite with their families because they don't even speak English anymore. It's just so devastating to generations of, it's absolutely appalling. So I was just like, oh, they're paying attention. There was actually a story on the news about it 2 weeks ago. So I shared that on my Facebook, and then I went back to my work, forgot all about it, forgot about everything. And then 2 weeks later, it was my birthday, and I was out for dinner with my son. And I said, somebody said that if I should do a Facebook post with my picture saying, do you recognize me? I'm looking for my family. And I was thinking about doing it. What do you think? He's like, let's do it right now. Took the picture. We posted it. We didn't even put any, I didn't tell them my birthday. I didn't tell them anything. I just put a picture of myself saying, do you recognize me? I'm looking for my family. Within the 24 hours, I would say within it was probably about 18 hours later, my cousin messaged me and was like, this is your name. This is where you're from. You're my cousin. Your middle name is, and she had my middle name. She had everything right. And she said, our middle names are the same. It's after our grandma. And it was boom, the whole post that went viral. It was absolutely nuts. I had quite a few people contact me. I got blood tests donated by ancestry.com. It was just nuts. But so I reunited, and she said, the next thing she said was, I'm so sorry to tell you this, but your mother passed away 2 weeks ago, and we're actually all together today for her funeral. and your post came up, and I was like, I showed your picture to my mom, like my aunt, and she's like, oh my gosh, that's Nita, and that's my birth name. And she said, I'm so sorry to tell you that. And she's like, we're kind of grieving, we're going through this. And then anyway, fast forward, I said I'll tell the short version. Anyway, so I went back and I tried to look, I stalked all their Facebooks. I wanted to see pictures of my mom. I couldn't find anything. She wasn't on Facebook. Wanted to find out if my brothers, sisters, anything, like any pictures, anything. Extremely private people. There was nothing. And I was like, well, they sent me a picture of the funeral little pamphlet. So I knew what day she died, and I looked on all their Facebooks on that day to see, like, how did she die? Like, was she happy? Like, anything. There's nothing. And then I was like, in my head, I was like, what was I doing on that day? Like, what was I doing? So I went on my Facebook, and it was the day I shared the post about the 60 scoop. And that was the day I did the post to find them. So I believe that on the day it was my mother's last thing to come to me and be like, stop, like, this is not important. And I pretty much quit the job and dedicated everything to my life and doing what's right. And she's with me when I first went to reunite with them. Someone, like, was a kid sitting behind me in the plane, kicking the seat the whole ride, like flying there. And by the end of it, I wanted to, like, passively aggressively stand up and shoot them a dirty look. And there was no one sitting behind me.
Yeah.
And so I believe that without the gift, or without my ancestors, without all of this, none of that would have happened. I'd still be sitting there, misery.
Doing something you hate doing. Yeah. No, totally get that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that is, I don't know what, if that had been me on the plane and then find out there's no one sat behind me, I'd just stayed where I was and ended up living there. I wouldn't have flown back.
It was quite intense. I met my brother and he said, oh, like, she's gonna send you signs. I'm like, oh, I know. And then he's like, she just told me that we're at a casino. We've gone there for dinner. And he's like, she told me to put money in this slot machine. And like, we kind of laughed it off. So we put in $1 and he won like $600, like, right then.
Wow.
And then we're like, okay, that was a coincidence. Like, that was a really nice coincidence. And then on the speaker, it was Adele, hello from the other side. And we're like, oh, come on. Like, it was just absolutely
too coincidental.
It was,
Jeez. So just quickly, how long was the flight?
The flight was 2.5 hours, I believe. Yeah. So it was Vancouver to Winnipeg. So and it was like it was really annoying. Like, I was like quite annoyed.
So was it constant from taking off?
It was like start and stop. It was like when we were first taking off, and then again when we're about to start to land and such. But like a few in between. But it was enough that I was going to show my disdain.
Yeah. No, too much. That far too much.
Mm-hmm. And like I said, when we all reunited, they were just like, we were wondering where you were. Like, you're a dreamer too. They already knew that I was dreaming, and it was quite. And it was like my aunt that actually she coined. She says, "You walk with spirit, you dream with spirit," and she really kind of helped me along that part of the journey too. And it was like, they didn't even know me, and they knew all this like pretty intense stuff that I didn't share with anyone.
Right. Oh, thank you for that. We've still got a few more questions from Rob again. So he's asking, I don't know if I should read these out. I don't know if he's being genuine or not.
Yeah.
But he's asking, does Amanda believe this is a good one. Does Amanda believe the paranormal is connected, i.e. UFOs and Bigfoot, or is it coincidence?
I do believe it's connected, and I think that it's. I mean, I think a lot of it could be coincidental, and it's very easy to explain it as such. But
Yeah.
I'm like I said, I'm really big on energy and shifts in energy. So um, I believe it's all connected completely.
Yeah. No, I
Hmm.
totally agree with you on that. Because it's just this, for me, there's too much going on for there not to be a connection.
Hmm. Yeah,
Even
and
though it's all different things happening, but they're all happening at the same time.
well, and also like if you look at different communities, if you look at what's going on kind of closer to where Skinwalker Ranch is,
Yeah.
and a lot of the stories that you hear from the Navajo people, they are actually mirrored up in British Columbia, and a lot of
Yeah.
the traditions that are happening and a lot of the old stories, they're so connected, and it is with UFOs and Bigfoot as well. It's not
Yeah.
just the spirit world, it's like the entirety of don't hit your microphone.
I
But
do
it's
it all
the
the
I get
time.
very excited about it. Break the camera next.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But no, it is. I do think some things don't feel connected. It's like I'm trying to find the connection between, especially like with spirits and say, Dogman,
Mhm.
for instance. I don't see a direct, or I can't. I personally can't work out a direct connection between them. But there must be something that's linking all this together.
Mhm. I think with Dogman and I do believe there's a connection there. I just don't think that we're close to it, and I don't know if we're supposed to be. I know traditionally there's a lot of tales of shape shifting animals,
Yeah,
usually dogs, werewolves. What will you um, on land, and is it connected to UFOs? Probably not. It's probably more land based.
yeah,
Like we're talking about, I do believe a lot of spirits are supposed to be grounded, and I think that they're kind of closer to that tradition. Whereas I see with Bigfoot and Sasquatch, there's even a connection um, to sea serpents and such like that. There
all
is,
right.
there is a relationship there, and it kind of it happens over and over and over again. Like it's not just a theme, it's not just like these are stories, these are like you know centuries old stories told in two completely separate areas.
Yeah,
um
but
so we would be
it's
silly to not pay
yeah,
attention
and
to it.
it seems to be the same, not the same story, but the same things happening in each story,
The same
regardless of
connection, yeah. And a
how
lot
far
of our
apart.
our creation stories too are completely like tied in there too. It's
Yeah,
just amazing if you look at the traditions of the land and of the people that were in North America for like thousands of years.
oh yeah,
Yeah, I got lost there.
all right, it's all right. No, it's just work. I suppose we're all trying to work out what the connection is. I think once we've got that, then we can start pinpointing to certain things then and working out what they are. But
Hmm.
it's that finding out that main connection, I think, is the biggest
Yeah.
part of it, or
Hmm.
one of the biggest parts of it.
And it's like it's almost exciting, like okay, one day I'm going to know all the answers. It's
Yeah,
not going to be a good day, but you know what I mean, or maybe I won't, maybe you just get one lesson, and that's the giant sacrifice that we're going to have to make. But yeah, like I mean, when you look at things, reincarnation, I'm going to come back as a cryptid, then I will know.
yeah.
That
Would,
is my journey.
yeah. Would you really want to find out what the answers are? Because then once you get the answers, what's left? What's left
Ah,
to
well,
discover?
I used to really and here we go back to me and my story. It's like when I get the answers to my life and reuniting with my family, I was like,
Yeah.
well, no, now what? This has been my life's journey is to get the
Yeah.
answers. And it wasn't, it was a beginning. So I kind of think the same way with paranormal. It's like, that's just like the tip of the iceberg. It's finding out, oh, we were right about this, or we were
Yeah.
complete idiots about that. That's just the beginning, you know. It's
Yeah.
amazing. And will I see it? I don't know if there's enough time in my lifetime to see it all unfold. So I don't know. Like, I don't think that if I had all the answers to, I just think I would have more questions.
Yeah,
Mhm.
definitely. No, thank you. Right, I'm gonna do this one because it's so cheesy.
Oh no. Rob.
The Rob has said, Amanda, are you into ghosts because you're too beautiful?
You're the only 10 I see. Oh, thanks, Rob. I am into ghosts.
There you go.
That's classic.
Right. Next one is from Rob again. Amanda, why was Ghost Loop considered the greatest paranormal show of all time?
Oh, because it was like loopy. I don't know. I can't answer that. I always thought the greatest paranormal show of all time was Haunted Hospitals,
Right.
season 4, episode 9, called The Labyrinth.
Cool. Thank you. Was you in that one?
Yeah.
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 I was gonna say, if you was going to say no, I was going to say, was Rob in that one?
Yeah.
No, cheers for that.
I'm done promoting him. Everyone knows who he is.
Right. Next one. Oh, it's from Blue Shift. He would like to know, has Amanda had to deal with any negative attachments like a hitchhiker effect entity?
I have. I definitely have. There's actually one thing that we talk a lot about, like Rob and I, is like what are we inviting and what are we dealing with, and how much of what goes on in our life, health wise or just life wise, has to do with attachments. Now, negative attachments. Yeah, I've had it's like almost like a paranormal hangover times 10. Like it was um real crud. Like it was
Yeah.
just weighing me down. I do subscribe to like baths. I bathe a lot, especially if I Epsom salts in a bath and I'll dunk myself under. I do full cleansing on myself. I will, we have medicine up the yin yang here, and I mean like actual traditional medicine, not like gabapentin or something.
Yeah.
So,
Not pharmaceutical
yeah,
stuff.
like I said earlier, I do a lot of the cleansing rather than the so yes, I definitely have. And I'm not a believer that negative attachments or attachments on anything will stay with you. Like they will slowly go back to where they came from. But at the same time, like it's no fun. It's like I said, paranormal hangover on steroids.
Yeah. But I suppose with you doing the cleansing, that in a way, that's one form of protecting yourself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I guess it's just the act after the fact. But yeah, you're protecting yourself, like what you're going through, or you're in your house with your family and your little dogs too.
Yeah, sorry, I can hear foxes out the back.
Ooh.
And look, it's that screaming. It sounds like someone being murdered.
Ah, I didn't know that. Well, yeah. We
Most
get like coyotes.
sound.
Oh, they sound like they're making fun of you, laughing away at you.
They sound like screaming in agony. I don't know if you can hear it, but
no.
Stop now. Sorry about
Let's
that.
go outside.
Yeah, and it not be foxes.
Yeah. Oh no. Okay, don't look.
No. I had a question for you as well. So So it's gone. The foxes put me off. Hopefully, I'll remember it. I thought it was a
Yeah.
good question as well. Right, we do have one more. You kind of just answered, but I'll ask this anyway. So this is from Nickname. How does Amanda keep negative energy away?
I ignore
Goes
it.
with the cleansing.
I think I don't always believe that negative energy is negative. So that's the first thing is I give all energy that kind of attention until is it useful, is it not? If it's like overwhelming and it's a little bit like catches you off guard, that doesn't always mean it's negative. And I find a lot of people will think that is that negative, like strong means negative, I think.
Yeah.
But if it is something that's just messing with me, honestly, I do. I just ignore it. Like I'm not a believer in it's like people, right? It's like, why welcome that into your life? You know, if I'm on an investigation and this negative energy is affecting like a family or affecting other people, then that's different. But if it's just, you know, we're gone to this haunted place and there's something funky in the corner, then I'm just not going to go in that corner. Yeah.
No, I remember the question. So it's saying about the hitchhiker effect. Have you ever felt that something's tried taking possession of you, like using you as a host?
I think I tried to have them do that. So yeah, we were actually just talking about like we're thinking about this evening where we're gonna do a little like physical mediumship in our house.
Right.
So yes, and kind of also too like taking on the. Yeah, I guess you know what, we were in Savannah not too long ago, and I had well, first of all, Robb, he welcomed anything that was in the building.
Come in. You're
Yes.
all joiners. Is it one of them?
Please empathically tell me what was going on.
Yeah.
And to attach themselves to me, and that's all their prayers would be answered. And it was within like I would say 15 minutes. I was like so mad at the team. I was so mad at we have one of our members, Terry Kirkendall. I was like almost ready to yell at him because he was being too loud and he was bothering me, and I was just so grumpy and so like just shut up already. Like and I even with Robb, like I was like shortly like everything, and then I left the investigation. I was like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to be a part of this. I'm out of here. But it was like, it wasn't because I was scared. I was mad. I was really like just trigger reactive. And then I left. I went up. Yeah, I went upstairs. It was like a bar underneath a hotel. So I went upstairs in the hotel part, and it was like a lobby area. And I was sitting there, and I was by myself, and I was like almost in tears. And I was crying like I just don't know why. Like I don't know why we're here. What are we doing? This is like pointless. My life is completely pointless. I have no. And all of a sudden I was like contemplating like my existence. And then I went back downstairs. So I'm like, this is not good. And I went back downstairs and I was like, I want to investigate, but I'm going to investigate over here alone. And because I thought everyone was judging me. And I thought everyone was like staring at me, and I'm like, they don't want to be my friends. They don't want me to be around. They just have me here because who's stupid Robb, and now I'm mad at Robb again because, and it just went on and on and on and on like that. And then I went outside and I had all my stuff packed again. I'm leaving again. And I went outside and I cried, and Robb came out and he's like, are you okay? Like, what is going on? I've never seen you act like this. Like, well, he's seen me act like that, but not at an investigation, like not like so off the hook. And I was like, I don't know like what's going on. Like, I feel like I'm pregnant. Like, I'm just like, everything is causing me to like, like it was like a wave of emotions. He's like, well, maybe I shouldn't have told them to like put that on you. And I was like, yeah, by the way, F you for that.
What was
I
that
was like,
about?
oh my gosh. And then I was like, I just feel like everyone's judging me and everyone's looking at me and I don't know why. And like, I know that like, and I was a single mother. It's like all of a sudden, like I'm emotional about my son and my son wasn't there. And it was like right after Christmas and everything was just driving me crazy. So we went back downstairs. He asked everyone to leave me alone, like no more attaching themselves to me or expressing themselves through me. And then he's like, you know what? You didn't come on the tour with us. And I was like, no, because I stayed downstairs and I was already doing an EVP session because I'd already felt something. So I didn't know the history of the building.
Right.
It was like a home for wayward females, let's say. And usually around, they were like teenagers. So it was almost like a group home or for the same kind of thing that I went through in my life.
Yeah, I was going to say, so similar to what you had.
And the basement was used for when they, like when they were pregnant, and so illegal abortions would happen in there.
Right.
So there's a lot of emotions there as well too. And I'm like absolutely blown away. Like I'm gutted. Of course they're going to come and tell me all their things and tell me, you know, like I was just, I went through such a, it was horrible. It was horrible. So. So yes, I've mentally, I've completely and utterly been affected by these things.
Because you'd have picked up the energy from everything that went on in that room.
Yeah, there was shame, and that was the number one thing. I was ashamed of everything I was doing, how I was acting, how I was behaving. I was just
because when you said you felt like you was being judged by everyone.
I didn't want to be around any of them. Like I just want to be left alone.
So when did that stop? When did them emotions stop?
When I realized, okay, yes, Rob did ask, this is not me. This is not what's going on with me. I was able to kind of like harness that a little bit. But then Rob did immediately say like, no more, like leave her alone. Like he was the one that kind of laid that law saying that they could affect me and they could feel what they were feeling. And so he pretty much took control of that situation and helped me out of it, because I did not realize the floodgates that were being opened there, but it was and to Terry, I'm sorry I yelled at you.
Well, Rob says it's fun to yell at Terry, apparently.
Yeah, it is.
All right. Well, if you've got all that coming at you, you're not even gonna know who you are, what day it is, or anything, are you?
No. It's
all going to be hitting you at once.
Yeah. And when you're already when you're empathically ashamed of things, you can't tell, it's because you just know, they're going to judge me. But
no, thank you for that. It's very interesting. All right. So last question, because we're just going up to the 2-hour mark. This is from Nellie Kelly again. What are Amanda's views on Ouija boards? Have you ever used one? I'm not even allowed one in the house, so
I make them actually. Oh, I know. But I love them. I love them. See, I even and I know I'm not supposed to, but I think it's just another tool, and if used properly, it is what it is. I think that there is a huge stigma on them. A lot of misinformation as well too. I love them. I do. I had a thought on that, and then I completely. Oh yes, we actually were using one in this house, and then we walked away, just left it open, and we're like, oh my gosh, like look, we're so bad. Like we gave ourselves a talking to, and then we tried again to use it, and this time. When we were doing everything right. We were, and I've used them and they've worked. I've used them and they haven't worked. All sides of it. This just wasn't going. And we said, well, fine. We're going to stop using the Ouija board. And it was Rob and I, and we both fully trust each other. We know neither of us did this, but our hands are on the planchette, and the planchette did not move at all. But the board, spun around and then went flying off the table, and we're just still sitting there with our fingers on the planchette, well, that just happened.
And that's never happened before.
No,
First time.
I've never seen that. It's like whatever it was like, get that thing out of here. Like, yeah.
Wow. So can I just ask,
Mhm.
when you're making them, do you have to mentally put
Yeah, I do
any?
a lot of like make them with intention. I do.
Yeah.
A lot of what I'm making is more for art and like the actual visualization of it. Um, yeah, because I think that a lot of things, it's all about intention and what you're planning on doing, or why you're there, or why you're asking these questions. Um, a lot of like I make dream catchers as well, and
Yeah, I did see
those
that on Facebook the other day because Rob was saying, contact Amanda. She's made this.
he's like my biggest salesperson. He's great. He's great. But yeah, like I have one right here. But yeah, so it's the same thing that I do with these. Like when I'm making them, like they're all fully charged. They're all um I I work a lot with them. Like it's not just I make them and then I sell them. No,
Yeah,
like I actually put a lot of work into making sure that they're charged. I've had ones that I've sold like a decade ago that people will send back to me and say, "Can you recharge it?" Because it's just been over time.
right. Okay.
Or saying like, "I got it because I was having nightmares, but now I would like it for this, or I'd like to give this
Yeah,
to my son." To
yeah.
and this is what's going on. So it's the same thing with anything that I create. I use the energy, and yeah,
Cool. Right. One quick question: do you ship to the UK?
I do. Yes.
Excellent. Even better. I meant to.
Lucky.
I meant to ask you the other day and I completely forgot. Just been so busy.
Yeah.
So no, thank you. Right.
Mhm.
Have you got anything else you'd like to add or talk about before we wrap up?
Not really. I think that was we kind of covered everything. That was kind of cool. Like,
Yeah,
I,
I
I,
really enjoyed it tonight.
yeah.
We had
Oh,
the
I do
yeah,
have on Facebook now. I started my own little page, and it's honestly it's just me being ridiculous on Facebook. So if anyone wants
yeah.
to follow, that would be great. I know Rob would give me so much trouble if I didn't say that, but it's nothing special. It's just me making things
Share
and
any
doing
links.
EVP sessions, and yeah,
If you've got any
telling
links
ghost
you want to
stories.
send to me, I can add them. I know because
Mhm.
Rob sent your bio and everything. There's
Yeah,
some stuff in there, but if you've got any new links that you want me to put on, I can put them in the description
yeah.
on, excuse me, YouTube. But then this is going out as a podcast as well. So
Hmm.
this will be on Spotify, Podbean, Apple, and yeah, all
Cool.
podcast players. So, and that'll
Awesome.
be uploaded about midnight when I finish editing all this.
Nice.
Well, no, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on. It's been fantastic. And we
Mhm.
even
Thank you
got
so
to
much.
see Rob's arm.
Yeah.
Bonus.
Disembodied Rob's arm.
Yeah. Let us know as well about if there was an EVP on the recorder.
Yeah, for
And
sure.
hopefully either me or someone in the chat will find out when you did the one without the recording, if anything
Hmm.
comes up.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, we will for sure. I know Rob will probably, he's got a great ear, so I'll listen
yeah.
to it and hear, and he listens to it and hears full sentences. I'm like,
Right. He's just put Amanda has a Chiweenie dog.
I do have a Chiweenie dog. Thanks,
I've
Rob.
never even heard of it.
It's like it's a little tiny little thing, but it's
All right.
half Chihuahua, half Wiener dog.
Right,
It's
okay.
German Taco.
Right. Thank you.
Mhm.
I thought he was just making stuff up then.
No, no, no,
I
that
mean,
one's
it's like
true.
a weenie. What? I'm gonna have to ask, even if it's not real. So, no, massive thank you for coming on. Hopefully, you'll come back on again if you don't mind. You don't feel obliged, but no, no, it's great having you on.
We'll
Honestly,
find out after we
you
see
know,
if we get EVPs or not. No.
yeah.
Uh-oh. Oh, here we go.
Is he?
This is a
Oh,
Chiweenie.
so it's like, yeah.
Yeah. She's
Oh
a
my,
very long Chihuahua.
my two favorite dogs in one.
And she's this little baby.
So my
Oh,
missus,
Rob.
so my missus' sister, they've got a Chihuahua.
Mhm.
Carlos, he can sit in your hand. He can stand in your hand He's that small.
Oh, really?
Tiny, same colour.
Yeah.
And dashhounds have always been one of my favourite dogs ever. And to have 2 in one is
She's
just
camera shy.
awesome. Doesn't like the camera, put it that way.
No.
Oh my
Aw.
God, so cute. So
And
jealous.
it looks just like Rob.
Yeah.
The facial hair and
Cuter
everything.
than Rob.
Yeah. Way cuter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Without the ponytail.
Yeah.
Right. So that is it, everyone. I'm back next Wednesday with Dark Lakes Paranormal. And again on Friday with... So I just got to put my calendar up quick because I forgot. Jessica Jones and Barry Littleton. So hopefully you'll join me on Wednesday and Friday next week. Massive thank you again to Amanda and Rob for an amazing show. Absolutely loved it. So thank you. And hope you did too. So have a great weekend and we will see you next week. Take care, everyone, and good night.